Hey everybody, I just wanted to record a quick video. Kind of had to rush through the last bit of our notes yesterday, and so I wanted to make sure that you got a chance to really sit on some concepts. Maybe it'll help you finish up the homework that I gave you, or just understand this concept a little bit better. So, we were talking about GDP, and that there are three approaches to calculating GDP. The first one we said is the expenditures approach, or the spending approach, where we add up all spending on final goods and services in an economy. And we said the formula is GDP, Y, that means output or GDP, equals consumer spending plus investment spending plus government spending plus net exports. So the net exports aspect is, there are foreigners who are buying our goods, so we need to count that towards our GDP, the exports, but then we are spending on foreigners' goods. So the money is leaving the country, those imports. So we have to take that out. So that's why net exports is exports minus imports there. And so let's see here. There we go. You don't have to write all that down. Like I said yesterday, just know what each of these letters stands for. We're going to get lots of practice with the expenditures approach. And then I had you calculate this country's GDP by adding up the spending. We did that yesterday, so we don't need to do that again here. What we didn't get to is this idea of what is included and what is not included in GDP. Okay, so I want to give you a chance to do this activity. I'm going to give you these scenarios, and I want you to pause the video and go through each of these 10 scenarios and decide, would this be considered would it be included in our calculation of GDP? And if so, would we count it as consumer spending, investment spending, government spending, or net exports? So pause the video right here, go through all 10 of these, and then come back and I'll walk through each of these with you. All right, so if y'all can hear little kids playing in the background, my kids are in the playroom. Hopefully they don't come in here. If they do, I'll pick them up and you get to see them. But hopefully we get through this. All right. So number one, again, what we're doing here is we're identifying, is this included in GDP? And if it is it part of consumer spending, investment spending, government spending, or net exports? So when you spend $10 for movie tickets, would that be included in GDP? The answer is yes. So it's going to be green here. Yes, it is included in GDP, and this would be consumer spending. You're buying a service, a movie ticket. It sounds like a good, but really you're buying a service. They're showing you a movie. You get to sit there and watch it. Number two, a $5 million increase in defense expenditures. That's a fancy way of saying that the government is increasing spending on military goods, defense goods. So that would be considered government spending, and it would count toward GDP. $45 for a used economics textbook. I'm curious what you put here. This always is a good discussion in class that I'm missing. But this would not be considered, this would not be included. And the reason is it's already been counted. When this economics textbook was purchased as a new textbook, it would have been included in GDP. But now it's a used textbook, so we've already counted it toward GDP at some point, whoever bought the original new textbook. So we can't count this used good again. And that's true of all used goods, in fact. Number four, Ford builds a new $25 million factory. That, of course, would count toward GDP. And the category would be investment spending. So this is a company, a business, purchasing a factory, which is capital, right? And that's what investment spending is. Investment spending is a business buying capital. Remember what capital is in economics. It's the stuff to make other stuff. Number five, $25,000 Toyota made and sold in Mexico. This, of course, would not count toward the U.S. GDP, which should have been specified up above. Yeah, this wouldn't count for the United States because it's made and sold in another country. So it's not part of gross domestic product in the United States. Number six, $10,000 profit from selling stocks. So the important thing to think about here is that stocks are a financial asset. They're not a good or a service. So no final good or service has been purchased here. So this would not be considered part of GDP. Let's see here. Sorry, getting a spam call. Okay. $15,000 car made in the US, sold in Canada. What do we think here? This would count toward GDP. This would be an export. It's made here and then sold in Canada, so it's an export. And it would count toward our GDP because the money is coming into the United States. $10,000 tuition to attend college. This is a service that you're purchasing. So this would be consumer spending, $10,000 tuition. That would count. Number 9, $120 Social Security payment to Bob. So this is just a check that someone's receiving from the government. There's no good or service being purchased. Therefore, this would not count toward GDP. Now, the spending that Bob does afterward could count toward GDP, but that check is not purchasing. This is what we would call a transfer payment. And then finally, number 10, a farmer purchases a new $100,000 tractor. This would be investment spending, and it would count toward GDP. This farmer is buying capital, right? A business person, the farmer, is buying capital. So this would count toward GDP. So this is important here. It kind of already touched on this in the activity, but what does not count toward a country's GDP? Well, intermediate goods. We talked about this yesterday. The goods used to produce something are not counted toward GDP. We just count up what was spent on the final good, not the intermediate good. We also, as we talked about with the textbook, used goods don't count because we've already counted them when they were new goods. Financial transactions, you're not buying a good or a service. It's a financial asset. You're putting your money into some kind of savings vehicle. That's what stocks and bonds, etc., mutual funds, that's what those are. Those are not goods or services, so it wouldn't count toward GDP. This in economics would be considered saving. In economics, if you're not spending on something, you are saving it. And transfer payments also do not count. Transfer payments are those checks that come from the government, whether it's a Social Security check or a stimulus check. Those are transfer payments. They're not actually purchasing a good or a service. Sorry, getting another phone call. My bad. No phones, guys. All right. And then we talked about the income approach where we add up all the income. That can also get you the same number, right? When you add up wages, which is payment for labor, interest, which is payment for capital, rent, which is payment for land, and profits, which we consider payment for entrepreneurship. And we'll do this, I think, when I come back. But if this activity will show you that you can either add up all spending or income in this scenario, and you will get the same number for your GDP. We'll come back to this on Monday. And then finally, the value-added approach is just where you add up the value added at each stage of production, and you will get the same number as if you just took the price of the final good, right? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. So it's not as important. You just need to understand what it is. You won't really ever be asked to calculate it. But I'll touch on this again on Monday. So hopefully that helps clarify some things. You guys have a great day today and tomorrow, and I'll see you guys on Monday.